Hello everyone, good morning, good evening. Welcome to our webinar today. This is Shabaz. I'm a product manager in the Azure Network Security Customer Experience Engineering team here at Microsoft. In today's session, myself and my colleague Saleem will cover the Azure WAF bot protection, features, benefits, and best practices. So let's get started. So here's the agenda for today's session. We'll start with Azure WAF Overview. We'll talk about the bot landscape, and then we'll delve deeper into the bot protection in Azure WAF, where we'll cover the Bot Manager 1.1 rule set, JS challenge, and also some best practices. And finally, my colleague Saleem will do a demo on some of these features, and we'll also spend some time on the Q&A. So let's get into the topic. So before we talk about the Azure WAF, it's important to understand the various different type of web application attacks. So in today's digital landscape, web applications play a vital role in business operations by enabling efficient communication, transactions, and customer interactions. This prominence makes them prime targets for various cyber threats. So it is essential to understand and mitigate web application attacks to protect digital assets. So basically, there are three types of web application attacks that we are concerned about. So the first one is the DDoS attacks, so which are the distributed denial of service attacks. They aim to overwhelm web applications at multiple layers. So layer 3 and 4 attacks focus on network infrastructure, while the layer 7, known as application layer attacks, target the core of web services. Azure's DDoS protection combined with Azure WAF offers a robust defense mechanism that filters malicious traffic and ensures service continuity. Now, the second type of attacks are the web application attacks. These are sophisticated attacks targeting specific application vulnerabilities. Some of the examples are SQL injections, cross-site scripting, and remote file inclusions. The Azure WAF leverages the OWASP core rule set to defend against these threats, adapting to the evolving threat landscape. Now, the last type of attacks, or the last type that we're concerned about, is the malicious bots. These are automated programs that scrape data, probe for vulnerabilities, and perform credential stuffing, leading to financial loss, competitive disadvantage, and legal challenges. So Azure WAF's Bot Manager rule set is designed to detect and block such malicious activities, thereby protecting your applications from exploitation. The impact of these attacks extends beyond financial loss. They can erode customer trust, damage a company's reputation. However, with tools like Azure WAF, we can mitigate these risks and secure our applications against the ever-changing cyber threat landscape. Now, let's try to understand what the Azure WAF is. So the Azure Web Application Firewall serves as a guardian for enterprises, offering a platform-managed solution that simplifies the protection of web applications. It safeguards applications hosted in Azure or elsewhere, ensuring high availability, scalability, and performance. Azure WAF efficiently defends against a spectrum of attacks, providing quick responses to emerging threats. So the Azure WAF is available in two variants. It is seamlessly integrated with Azure Front Door at the network edge, combining application acceleration, caching, and robust protection. And the second integration is with the application gateway. So the Azure WAF with App Gateway offers dedicated protection for both public and private websites, ensuring comprehensive security against cyber threats. The Azure WAF is equipped with pre-configured rules to guard against the OWASP top 10 threats, providing a solid foundation for web application security. The integration with Microsoft Threat Intelligence enhances bot protection, leveraging global insights to block malicious automated threats. On top of this, the conditional rate limiting at the Azure network edge helps manage traffic flow, preventing overload and ensuring service availability. The powerful custom rules engine allows for tailored security measures, while the geo-filtering and IP restriction capabilities add an extra layer of control. The HTTP parameter and size restriction features further refine protection, ensuring only legitimate requests are processed. So the Azure WAF's logging and metrics provide detailed insights for detection and alerts, allowing for prompt response and remediation through Sentinel integration. And finally, the ease of configuration through ARM templates, Portal, API, PowerShell, CLI, and Terraform makes Azure WAF a versatile and user-friendly solution for securing web applications. Now let's move on to the next section, which is overview of bots. Let's take a look at what bots are in general, right? So bots are automated software programs designed to perform specific tasks on the internet. So these bots can be created for various purposes, both beneficial and malicious. So some of the bot characteristics are listed here. Like when we look at these ones, the automation. So bots can operate without human intervention, making them efficient for a variety of activities. The second characteristic is impersonation, where some bots are capable of mimicking human behavior, making them challenging to distinguish from genuine users. The third characteristic here is the repetition. So bots excel at performing repetitive tasks consistently and accurately. And finally, the data interaction, where bots can interact with data sources, APIs, and databases, enabling them to retrieve, modify, or delete information, thereby affecting our applications. Some common type of bots are search engine bots, chat bots, social media bots, web scrapers, and malicious bots. Now let's have a look at the bot landscape. Bots account for approximately 48% of all the internet traffic, with 30% attributed to malicious bots. These harmful bots are automated programs designed to attack web and mobile applications for fraudulent and harmful purposes. Out of these, around 33% are simple bad bots using automated scripts for their malicious activities. Now, bad bots can engage in various attacks. Some of them are listed here, like launching DDoS attacks on customer-facing websites, gaining initial access by escalating privileges in critical systems, then using that access to launch further attacks through lateral movement, and spamming customer websites with form submission pages, spoofing legitimate mobile user agents to execute a range of fraudulent and malicious activities, and scraping website content, tampering with SEO rankings or prices, and launching denial of inventory attacks. And finally, spreading false information, performing targeted phishing, and conducting social engineering attacks. These are various attack types the bots can indulge in, so it is really important to protect our web applications from these bot attacks. That is where our Azure WAF Bot Manager rule set comes into the picture. So let's talk about the Bot Manager 1.1 rule set. So the Bot Manager 1.1 is the latest version of the Bot Manager rule set that introduces new rules to expand coverage for detecting both good and bad bots. So when we look at the good bot detection, so the Bot Manager 1.1 features 7 rules for identifying good bots, more than tripling the number of good bots the rule set can detect previously. The good bot rule group introduces categories of good bots, empowering customers to exert granular control over the WAF policy. And then when we look at the bad bot detection, leveraging additional threat intelligence from internal and external partners, a new default block rule has been added to block known bad bots by their IP addresses. This is the bad bot rule that we're talking about. This rule expands the number of bad bots blocked based on Microsoft Threat Intelligence by 50%. We also have a blog published on this new rule set in our Microsoft Tech community blogs. We encourage everyone to check that one out. Now let's move on to the next section, which is JS challenge. Another important feature of Azure WAF that helps with bot protection is JS challenge. So Azure WAF detects and mitigates simple bad bots to protect against bot attacks using the Azure WAF JavaScript challenge. The JavaScript challenge is a non-interactive, invisible web challenge used to distinguish legitimate users from simple bad bots. So how it works is clients are shown an MS.js challenge page. Then they see this page for a few seconds while their browser computes the challenge. The successful computations validate the request as non-bot, allowing it to proceed to the rest of the WAF rules. And whichever requests failed this challenge would be blocked. On top of this, the JS challenge can be configured for a specific duration ranging from 5 to 1440 minutes, which is 24 hours. Once a request successfully passes the JS challenge, it will not be challenged again within the specified time window, unless attributes such as the source IP address or any other attributes change. Upon successful completion of the challenge, a JavaScript challenge expression cookie is injected into the user's browser. So that's how the mechanism works here. So as we can see here in this image, this is the JS challenge page we see briefly during the computation. And once the computation is done, the user gets redirected to the website. We can also dig deeper into the logs to identify whether the JS challenge was paused or blocked for a specific request to analyze the request thoroughly. So that was a bit about the JavaScript challenge. Now let's move on to the next section, which is the best practices for bot protection, specifically in Azure WAF. So there are a few best practices that we recommend everyone to follow when we are implementing bot protection in Azure WAF. The first one is the enable bot protection rule set. Definitely that's the no-brainer there. So enable the bot protection rule set to block or log requests from known malicious bots and IP addresses. This rule set is continuously updated from the Microsoft Threat Intelligence feed, so you don't have to work on updating this rule set again and again. It's all taken care of by the platform. And then the second one is enabling the JS challenge. So we can use JS JavaScript challenge to differentiate between bots and humans, blocking automated attacks while allowing legitimate users. So you can use this JS challenge as an action, whether either in your custom rules or you can also use this as an action in your bot manager rules. And then we have the geo filtering feature. We encourage everyone to utilize that feature in Azure WAF. So implementing geo filter to block or allow traffic based on geographic locations. So sometimes customers, they do not need traffic from all the different geographic locations. So it's better to block the noise from the locations where we don't need the traffic from. So there, this geo filtering feature is very handy. And then there is this rate limiting feature we encourage everyone to make use of for effective protection from the bots. So using rate limiting to control the number of requests a client, like generally a client can make within a specified time period, helping to mitigate bot attacks. So you can specify like what is the time period and how many requests you want to allow for a specific client for this particular endpoint, right? So you can do all sorts of modifications for this rate limiting. This will help with layer 7 flooding attacks and all sorts of different attacks in that genre. And now the next best practice is monitoring and logging. So regularly monitor and log WAF activity to detect and respond to potential threats quickly. So it's really important to keep track of all the requests that are coming in, passing through the WAF. And even in troubleshooting scenarios, it will be very helpful if we have the logging enabled and if you're monitoring continuously. And finally, and most importantly, we have to keep our WAF rules and configurations up to date to protect against the latest threats. So these are some of the best practices for bot protection in Azure WAF. And if we have all of these in place, then we should be in a good place with respect to malicious bots in our environment. And moving on, that's the end of our theory session. We will be moving to the next section, which is the demo. I would like to hand it over to Saleem, who will be taking you through some of these features that I just mentioned. Saleem, the floor is all yours.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Shabaz, for the presentation. So let's start with the demo part. So in this demo demonstration, what I want to show you is how to test the bot protection, the JavaScript challenge, looking at the logs, the metrics, creating an alert, and also confirming that it's working right. So as you can see here, this is the website that I'm going to use today to test these features. And before jumping into the demo, we will start. I want to give you some context on the environment that we have and what we are testing specifically here. So we are going to be testing it on the application gateway specifically. So I'm going to here navigate to my application gateway where I have the WAF configured. So this application gateway is sending the traffic that it receives to my VMSS, where I'm hosting this website that I just showed you up there. And on this application gateway, I have a WAF policy attached where I have the rules. Now I'm gonna go to this page. I'm gonna now navigate to the WAF that I have configured. And for this demo, I'm gonna be showing the test on application gateway WAF. However, bot protection is available, and also JavaScript challenge is available also on AFD WAF. So right now I'm in the application gateway WAF policy that I want to show you. So the first thing I want to go over here to the managed rules and show you the bot protection rules that we have. And they are here. These are the 101 and 1.1, and this is the latest one that we have. Now selecting the latest bot protection or managed rules that you want, you can click on assign here and then select the specific rule set that you want, or if you don't want any. Now here you will see the bot protection rules that we have, and you will see also the actions that they have over here. If you select, you can select all the rule set or just specifically one rule, for example this one, and then you can change the action, and you can have allow, which just allows the traffic, anomaly scoring, which it will generate a score for it, and then if it's over a certain threshold, it will drop it. Then we have logging, which means that it will only allow traffic and then also log it. Block means that if it matches the rule, then it will log it and block it. And then the last one, which is also what we are presenting today, is the JavaScript challenge, which will challenge the requester in this case and confirm that they are not a bot. So these are the actions that we have. Now the JavaScript challenge can be enabled on your specific, for example, rule sets that you have here, for example, the bot manager rule sets, or you can even enable them on your default rule sets in this case. And you can also enable the JavaScript challenge action on your custom rules. So you can have a specific custom rule where it's matching specific criteria that you have, and then it will start that challenge. And then we have here one configured, and I'll show you in a bit how it works. But the first thing we will look at is the this custom rule. So this is the JavaScript challenge that we have configured over here. I'm going to open it. And basically this custom rule has a priority of 60, which means that it's the last custom rule that will be checked. And something important to mention here is the processing logic in WAF. So the custom rules are always going to be checked before managed rules. So that's important to know and to be aware of. So this custom rule that I have here, it will look at match types. So it will look for a string, specifically the request URI, and then in this case we have FTP. So for this test, I want to show you how JavaScript challenge works, and specifically for the FTP page on our website. So what happens is that if it matches this URI with FTP, then you can see at the end here, it will do a JavaScript challenge, and it will confirm if it's legitimate user or if it's a bot. And you can see here, you can also have different actions. So now that we have this here already, I'm not going to change anything, just leave it as it is. And let's go ahead and test this one. So I'm going to go navigate back here to my, let me see over here. So I'm going to navigate back to my website. And I'm going to go to that FTP page. So I'm going to navigate here to About Us, and we have here a link, this specific link, and this is an FTP. So I'm going to click on it, and you will notice now a JavaScript challenge. You see, one moment, we're checking if you're not a bot, and you see it's already away. And so that was the JavaScript challenge, and basically that's all the user sees, right? And now the page is open. That's all fine. And what I want to show you actually is, so I'm going to enable the developer mode, and I'm just going to refresh this page. So I'm going to go to the headers here, and what you will notice on set cookie, you will see an application gateway, Azure WAF JS clearance, right? So this is the clearance that we received after clearing through that JavaScript challenge, and this is the cookie that we have, and that will be used for the next 5 minutes. So you can see here that the max age is 300 seconds, and this is the cookie that will stay here. So if I reload it, it will not ask for this JavaScript challenge again. And to show you where you can also configure the timing for this, I'm gonna go back here to my WAF policy, and under policy settings, I'm gonna open it, and here at the bottom you will see JavaScript challenge action settings, and we will see it's 5 minutes, which is 300 seconds, and you can configure this up to 1440 seconds, which is 24 hours. So this is how we see how the JavaScript challenge works. Now, of course, to confirm and to see this also in the logs, we will have to go to our logging. So to check the logs and to confirm that this rule was triggered also, the logging is, you will find it depending on where you're sending the logs. In our case, we're using the logs workspace. And it's not going to be under the WAF policy itself, but it's going to be in the application gateway resource in this case. Now, before going to the logging, just to confirm something important, and this is under diagnostic settings, you have to make sure that you have a diagnostic settings created and that you're sending your logs to a specific place. In our case, I'm using this log analytics workspace, CyberSock. So to look at the logs, I'm going to go here to logs, and you can navigate here, or you can go to the specific log workspace resource. And I'm going to go to this query. So this query is, it's looking at the Azure Diagnostics table. Now the application gateway you can use the Azure Diagnostics table, or you can use the resource specific table for it. But in our case, we're using right now the Azure Diagnostics. And I specified here that the category I'm looking for is the application gateway firewall log, and I'm looking at only at those logs. So I'm gonna run it, and it's gonna look only for the last hour. And so we want to check and see if we can see the log for the JavaScript challenge here. So I'm gonna go down here, and yeah, so this is the this is the page that I opened. This is the request URI, as you can see / FTP, and then down here you can see the message which says that JavaScript challenge passed due to valid challenge answer. So it means that, you know, as you saw, the challenge was passed. You can see here information about, for example, the rule set type, which we know it's a custom rule, the client IP, the rule ID, which in this case is JavaScript challenge because it's the custom rule, host name, and also some other information which are useful here. And so this is how you can confirm that the JavaScript challenge, for example, was working. And in a bit, I want also to show you how you can see this also in metrics. But before we do that, let's go over back to the WAF policy over here. And for the next test, I want to show you the bot protection rule set. So I'm going to go here to manage rules. And then under the latest bot protection rule set that we have, you will notice that I have a few, let me open this ID. So a few rules here, and you can see that, for example, these first ones, they are under bad bots. Then we have rules that identify them as good bots, and you can also select, you can also block these if you want, or just JavaScript challenge them. And then I'm going to go down here. There's also a few for unknown bots. So in my case, I'm going to be, I will most probably hit this rule, which is other bots, and it's unknown bots. So what I'm going to do to mimic a bot, I'm going to use a API client, and I have one open right here. So what I'm doing, basically, I have this, so this is the link to my website where I'm sending the GET request to it. And as you can see, I don't have anything specific in the options here, so no request header or anything like this. And I'm gonna be sending the request over here, and you can see immediately it's 403 forbidden, so the access was denied. And I know that that's because of the bot protection rule that I have in this case. You can see here, if I try a few times, it doesn't work. However, if I go back to my specific website, then you will see that it's still working fine, as you can see here. So it's working fine. And again, right, to confirm this, I'm going to go back to my application gateway. I'm going to run this query again just to see in the logs the rule triggered. So let's see if it's this one already. If it's here, let's go down here. And this is no, this is another one. Let's go here on the right. So I'm going to look for a column for message. And as I can see here, okay. So I have here other bots, and I'm going to just open this one, for example. And we can see if I go down here, and we can see this is the bot manager rule set 1.1, and it's the rule group unknown bots, and it's blocked. So this is what happened to me. That's because it identified as a unknown bot, and because of the request header, and it was blocked. Now, to show you how the bot protection also rule set and the JS challenge work together, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go back here to my WAF rule sets, and on this rule where earlier it triggered the it blocked me, so I'm gonna select this rule. I'm gonna go back up here, and I'm gonna change the action to JS challenge and started updating the WAF policy. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm telling it that if it matches that rule, which is identifies like the requester as a unknown, but it should JS challenge it. And if it's a bot, then it will not pass through. It should not be able to pass the JS challenge. And if it's user, then it should pass it. So I'm gonna wait here until it's done. Okay, so the update is done, and the first the first test that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go back to my website here, and I'm gonna test it to see if I can still access it normally. So I'm gonna try to go here to login, see if it opens. It opens back to my website, and as you can see, it's working fine. And let me go back to the FTP page just to be sure. So I'm gonna go about us and click on this one, and after a while it should work fine. Yeah, so we have the clearance. Now next I will test using the API client that I have open here, and I'm gonna send normal GET request to the website, and we will see what happens. So we have here the one moment we're checking you're not a bot, but you will notice that it's gonna be running forever because it's identifying it as a bot, and it's not letting it pass through here. So this is a test, and this is how you can also use them together, where the JavaScript, the JS challenge, you can enable it on custom rule, you can enable it also on your specific rule sets to confirm, and it's also pretty useful to make sure that you have less false positives. So a lot of times, or sometimes you have the IPs that are used by bots than used by normal users, and they can be blocked because of that. So the JavaScript challenge can help you with that. And the next, what I want to show you is the metrics, right? So looking at all of this, it's important also to monitor and to make sure that you have you're monitoring like how many requests you're getting, and also setting alerts based on that. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go back to the application gateway that I have, and under monitoring, click on metrics. Just gonna leave this one. And here we have the metrics for this application gateway, and as you can see, there is a few metrics you can select, which some of them are also related to the application gateway itself. I'm going to scroll here to the bottom, and here I will see the ones for WAF. So what I want to see first thing, I'm just gonna search for WAF total request, and I'm gonna filter for the last 4 hours here and apply it. And here you will see the WAF request, total request that we have. Next thing I want to show you is, so we have, as I discussed, we have also the WAF bot protection matches, custom rules, and we have here also the JS challenge. So I'm going to click on this JS challenge. And you will notice here that there was a few JS challenges happening here. So 5 here, you can see there's 3 here. And these are the latest one, which I just showed you. So there was 3 here, and there was a few also here, 3 of them also here. And these are the ones that I just showed you right now. And as you can see, so this matrix help you with monitoring, like how many JavaScript challenges in general you see. And one useful thing and a best practice definitely to do here is to create an alert based on this, right? So and before going to that, of course, I'm sure most of you are familiar with it. You can also save this to your dashboard so you can make sure that you're always monitoring this metric. And back to the alert. So you can create an alert based on this, and you can click simply on new alert rule. So this will open the page for the alert. And what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna create an alert that will send me a message, email, or notification that the threshold is exceeded. So as a signal name, it's already selected. So I have here the WAF JS challenge request count. This is the signal. This is the metric that I'm using. I'm gonna keep it static, aggregation type total, and the value I will use, for example, greater than. It will look for count. And then the threshold here, this, of course, depends on your environment, depends on how many, for example, normally you see. In our case, I'm just going to put here, for example, 10, right? And you can see here a preview and for the last 6 hours, and it shows me, for example, that I would have had one alert actually triggered if I had this alert enabled. And what this means, the threshold is 10, it means that if there are 10 JS challenges seen on my WAF, then it will trigger this alert. And this could be pretty useful, especially in the cases where usually you don't see so many, let's say, JS challenges, or you have a certain number that you see. And you can set this threshold to a lot higher number. For example, let's say you go to like 5,000. So if this threshold is exceeded, then there is a potential that there is a big attack or DDoS attack happening in your environment from different bots in that case. So this could be a good way to monitor your environment and making sure that you're aware if there's any potential attack happening. And now continuing here, what's also pretty cool that you can use here is the dimensions. So as I showed you, like there is a few ways that you can enable, for example, the JS challenge on custom rules, and you can be more specific. So I can just specifically here select rule, and then you can see here I have the JS challenge on my bot protection and also on the custom rule. So you can select just, for example, I want just a custom rule, and it will just look at this specific dimensions value. So you can be more, so you can have the alert more specific to your environment, and also only when it's really needed, right? So instead of enabling it on all the rules you have. And the last thing here, but not least, is the what to evaluate. So this is also important because basically what I have here, 5 minutes. 5 minutes, it will check every 5 minutes, and it will look at the timeline it uses for this threshold is the 5 minute, right? So in the case, let's say if you use 1 minute, then this will not work because this is, of course, also higher. So I have to set also, for example, 1 minute. So this is the smallest that you can use, and it will look every minute, the period of one last minute, or you can just keep it here as 5 minutes or more. So it depends really on your needs and what you have to configure, but this is very good practice when using the bot protection, also JS challenge, and in general, right, with the other rules that you have. So I'm gonna go back to the application gateway that I have here, and I'm gonna go last time to my logs here. So I'm gonna go to logs, and I'm gonna run the same query that I ran before, which looks for WAF logs in the last hour. And let me run it here again. Okay. And now looking here, so I'm going to scroll here to the right just to see the rules name and the one I care about also. And you can see the one I want to show you is this one. So this one issued, and we will open it here to see more details. So this is the one that matched also the FTP. And you can see also again, right? The issue due to missing challenge clearance. So this one was because of we have the challenge clearance, and you can see also the IP where it was coming from. And similar to, for example, the metrics, also in the logging, you can create a alert based on that. It's a bit different, of course, and different use cases. But for example, in this case, I'm using this custom log search. Here it will show you the query, which the one I used. And then here you can, for example, specify also the threshold and how many of these logs that you want to see, right? So you can use the similarly to the metrics, but here you can also be more specific, and you can also go, for example, to your dimensions, and you can specify everything, right? So everything that you saw on the log, you can filter by it, and you can have the alert only based, for example, on certain source IPs if you want to use, or destination application gateway, and all the customizations, right? So this is also very useful practice to start, and also to configure. So this is how you can monitor and also check the logs, create alerts, and also test the bot protection in JS challenge, right? So just to recap everything here, these are the new bot rule sets. I showed you like how you can block it, or actually you can also use the JS challenge on your bots to confirm that it's not a bot. And if it's a legitimate user, then it will pass through. I showed you also how you can check this in the metrics, how you can create an alert based on it, and also how to use the logging for this. So I hope this was useful to you, and I'm going to give it back here to Jason to see if there's any questions that were unanswered.
Great, thank you. The team has been great with answering questions in the chat. There are a few that I think are worth reiterating. The first one is there a training period for these bot rules, or are the rules good to go out of the box?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the rules are good out of the box. So there is no specific training period, because these. So we use the database and threat intelligence in this case for this rule, and different databases for the rule sets to compare the information we have. And make sure like that confirm if they're bad bots, good bots, or unknown bots, right? So for you, you can use them out of the box. You can just enable them, and they will start working. There is no specific time you have to wait until it starts being or it starts blocking.
Great, thank you. We had one just come in. What prevents bots to solve the JavaScript challenge if there is no user interaction involved?
Yeah, so the JavaScript challenge, usually at least it's solved by, for example, in my case, I'm using the web browser here, in this case, the Google Chrome. And when I go, for example, to the website, it shows me that quick loading, like, checking if you're a bot. And that's when it presents it with the JavaScript challenge. The web browser usually should have no problem with answering that or with passing through that, let's say, specific challenge. And if, let's say, that you're using automation or some other tools for the bots, they should not be able to pass through this JavaScript challenge, and they will get stuck on that part.
Great, thank you. The next one we have is, how does a non-interactive request like an API call work with the JavaScript challenge?
I'm not sure about that one. Shabaz, anything you want to add?
Yeah, sure. So for this one, basically the JavaScript challenge is specifically designed for distinguishing the legitimate users and bots by actually looking at the client's browser, right? So we cannot directly, evaluate the API request through this. But if we want to have further configuration for APIs, we can create custom rules or exclusions in the WAF policy to bypass specific requests. Or if we further want to protect our API endpoints, we can also incorporate another service like API protection service from Azure. But in general, the purpose of JS Challenge is mainly, like I said, to differentiate the legitimate users and bots.
Great, thank you. That seems to be all the questions we have for today. So with that, I'd like to thank you, Shabaz and Saleem, for being our guests and for sharing the great information with our community. Also, thank you to the Q&A team who helped us with answering the questions and providing the resourceful information. To all the listeners still on the line, if you're someone who wishes to aid in the protection of the world from cyber threats and desire to have a say in shaping our strategies, blueprints, and recommendations, then we invite you to become part of our security community. Together, we can make a global impact. So join us at aka.ms/security-community. This is also where you'll be notified about the upcoming webinars, events, and other announcements. Also, please submit your webinar feedback at aka.ms/AzureNetSecFeedback. For those of you who may have additional questions on the topic we just covered or other product-related questions, please feel free to raise them on our Microsoft Tech Community discussion space at aka.ms/ANScommunity. Thank you all for being part of our community and for joining us on these webinars. We hope to see you next time. Goodbye.